Hey there, Vikings Nation. Get ready to dive deep into the Skull State of Mind. Join our host, D. Woods, as he shares his unfiltered takes on all things Vikings, from expert game analysis to player controversies and everything in between. If you love the Vikings for better or worse, then you've come to the right place. So grab a drink and let's talk all things purple and gold. This is the Skull State of Mind podcast.
Welcome to the Skull State of Mind podcast. I'm your host, David Woods, and this is actually our first episode of this new podcast. It's been a lot of mishaps, but we finally here. We were scheduled to release this podcast maybe about a month ago. Things didn't work out, and I kind of felt like I didn't want to rush things, and I didn't want to give you guys a lackluster product, so I kind of wanted to wait and make sure everything was right, and I felt like this is the best time to actually release it. Things aren't as busy, and I can kind of pay attention to details and kind of perfect the craft because, I am a rookie podcaster, but thank you for being patient, and we here now, and this is our first episode. So within this first episode, I kind of wanted to give you guys, viewers and listeners, a proper introduction to myself and this podcast and what to look forward to. I'm your host, D. Woods, and I'm a Viking fan out here in Southern California. So I'm what you would call a out-of-state Viking fan, but that's nothing to be too alarmed about because growing up in Southern California around that time, we had no professional football team. I know now we do. I mean, we got the Rams and we got the Chargers, but me growing up as a kid in Southern California, we didn't have a professional football team, and it was kind of like either turn on a local channel and see what team was actually on TV at that time. My father is a big time Raider fan, not one of those over the top Raider fans, so it was either following his footsteps and figure out what team I wanted to root for and kind of like follow them. But I do remember and recall the moment I became a Viking fan, and that moment that, plays back in my mind when I think about what made me a fan of this team. And it's the 98 season. Yes, 98, the magical 98 season. It was the game against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. I mean, as a family, we have a big family gathering, and the guys are watching the football game, and I hear as a kid everyone saying like, "Oh, the Cowboys is gonna win this game. Let's see what Michael Irvin gonna do, Emmitt Smith gonna do, Troy Aikman." So I'm tuning into this game, and I see Randy Moss going off, like feel like he can't be stopped, and at that time, I'm playing Pop Warner, playing running back. So I'm paying attention to the running backs. Like Robert Smith was just doing this thing. And he became one of my favorite Vikings. Like he's arguably, in my opinion, one of the best running backs to ever play for the Vikings. I understand Adrian Peterson, but like Robert Smith, he did it for me. So going back to that game, just watching that game and just like, man, this team is good. That offense is like, I don't think they could be stopped, So I just started tuning into the team like throughout the year. And after that 98 season, like it's been my team. Like it's been my team going forward. It's ride or die Vikings, win, lose or draw Vikings. Like that's my team. So that's a quick little background, about how I became a Viking fan, even though I'm out here in Southern California. So I will always have to like pay for the NFL Sunday ticket every year just to see the team, but I don't care. Like I'm gonna do what I have to do to see my team, and I'm gonna root for my team. And every year, I said to my father every year, he asks me like, "What the Vikings gonna do this year, Super Bowl?" So I just hopefully, one of these years, I'm actually gonna be right about that. But yeah, what also inspired me to start this podcast is, I've been dibbling and dabbling in the podcast world for a little bit right now this past year. You can you probably see me on the Skull Purple podcast with my boys Tony and Carson. Just want to give a nice quick shout out to them and a thank you and for allowing me to be on their platform and their podcast and getting my feet wet in this podcast world. It's really appreciated. And going forward, maybe we can put our channels together and get some content together. But I just wanted to make sure in this first episode that I give you guys a proper shout out because I really appreciate it. Like I learned a lot of things from you guys, and it's just I appreciate it, man. Like it's just thank you. So what also inspired me is like I just kind of feel like the podcast world, the social media world, everyone sometimes talks about the same thing over and over again, and it gets so redundant. Like what I want to do in this podcast is I want to talk about things that's not talked about. I want to make you think about certain scenarios going forward with the team. I don't want to just be like, oh, so basic, because I don't think like that. So within this podcast, that's the kind of, structure that you're going to get and kind of looks you're going to get and the topics you're going to get. But even though this is a Vikings podcast, we will be talking about all things NFL. So if it's a big NFL, topic or headline that happens throughout the season or the off season, we're going to be talking about it here. So you will get my opinions on those things also going forward. And as far as the release schedule, I'm trying to release new episodes every Monday. So every Monday you could be on a lookout on YouTube for the video form, Spotify podcast, Apple Music podcast, just for the audio form. But I will be, putting things on social media to keep you guys engaged of the channel, going forward. So just be on a lookout, of new content, because after this episode, I'm going to really start being real heavy with the content. So you're probably going to start seeing me more on, social media, posting more, and you're going to see more videos going forward. Since it's just me starting out right now, I'm just going to be your host, and there will be co-hosts that I will be working on, trying to bring co-hosts on and try to get their opinion and stuff like that. But for the most part, as of right now, just starting out, it's just me. And, I'm going to make my mistakes because I'm a rookie in the situation. But I'm just really excited, to be actually doing this podcast and, going forward with my ideas and trying to, give you guys something different to talk about at the water coolers. Just thank you. This is basically a little slight introduction on the podcast, but look forward to the content, and thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning into the Skull State of Mind podcast. Take a beat to give us a 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. Join us next time, and don't forget to follow Skull State of Mind on all social media platforms to keep up with all the news and updates. Thanks again for listening, and as always, Skull Vikings.